When the code breaks, the old gods awaken. Pocket pixels. Glitched out.
Pocket Pixels Fire Dash Uprising. Chapter 1. Highway Dreams and Packing Heat. The morning sunlight cracked through dusty blinds, warming the small cluttered room where Ichigo lay belly up, tongue flopped to the side, snoring softly. Scattered across the hardwood floor were duck toys, some torn, others pristine like trophies of battles never fought. The man, hoodie half-zipped and coffee in hand, crouched to stuff the final duck into Ichigo's worn backpack. It squeaked one last time before disappearing inside. Outside, the air was sticky with early summer heat. July in Ohio didn't mess around. The cracked sidewalk shimmered, and cicadas already droned like broken fans. The trunk of the rusted-out sedan popped open, revealing a road trip mess. Duffel bags, loose Polaroids, a half-packed cooler, and a pixel-patterned blanket folded with care. On top sat a sheathed, glitch-sliced katana, humming softly, still pulsing from last month's war. Ichigo trotted out with purpose, his tag jingling. He pawed at the passenger door. The man grinned, tossing the keys in a lazy arc. "Ready to see if Indiana still exists," he joked, sliding behind the wheel. Ichigo barked once, short and sharp, like he knew the odds of reality staying stable were low. As they rolled out of town, the skies held that hazy pink hue that only happened before a summer storm or a world-ending dimensional collapse. The radio spat static. Every few miles it whispered glitched-out versions of old pop songs, words chopped and reversed, like a mixtape from another dimension trying to break through. The scent of asphalt, tar, and motor oil filled the cabin. Cornfields rolled by in hypnotic rhythm. For an hour it was calm. The man even began to believe maybe this was just a trip, no monsters, no sword, no pixel ghosts. But then, right at mile marker 148, the sky tore sideways. A flicker, then another. The clouds stuttered, like buffering video. And the world paused. The car jolted to a halt without brakes. A digital warping sound echoed as the air folded inward. Street signs melted, guard rails snapped into pixelated snakes, and the horizon turned into jagged geometry. All around them, traffic was frozen, people mid-sip of coffee, birds mid-flap, a bee hanging in the air like a screensaver. Ichigo growled low. His fur stood up and his nose twitched, not from fear, from recognition. A faint orange glow pulsed from the right. Up ahead, behind the fractured remains of an old gas station, was something impossible. A fully intact EB game store. Faded banners fluttered in glitched-out wind. A cardboard cutout of Lara Croft flickered in and out. Inside, it glowed with an unnatural light. The man unsheathed his blade. Ichigo sprinted forward. Inside, the air smelled like burning plastic and caramel popcorn. The old CRT TVs flickered static and fire. On a pedestal in the center of the store sat a cartridge. Unlabeled, glowing like a coal. Ichigo padded forward. The moment his paw touched the console, flames burst around him. Pixel fire. It licked his fur but didn't burn. Instead, it wrapped around his frame like armor. Boom! The Shiba Inu's body lifted, tail spiraling with heat. His eyes glowed. A digital flame sword formed in his mouth. His paws ignited in bursts of red-orange data. And then, Fire Dash unlocked. With a blast, he dashed across the store, turning a glitched cardboard zombie into smoldering pixels. The man watched in awe. "Well, I guess we're doing this again." Chapter 2. The slow burn begins. The sliding doors of EB games hissed open with a distorted screech, like a VHS tape getting chewed up. The sun was gone, not hidden behind clouds, just gone. The sky outside flickered in and out between color palettes like an old SNES game loading a new level. The man stepped out first, blade drawn. The katana shimmered with a dull blue pulse, still alive, still loyal. He glanced over his shoulder at Ichigo, who strutted behind him with pixel flames licking his paws. Every few steps, tiny cinders scattered off him and vanished before they hit the cracked parking lot. The air smelled like fried circuits and melted gum. Something was wrong with the wind. It blew sideways, tugging at their clothes as if gravity had become indecisive. "Okay," the man muttered to himself. "We're not even out of Ohio, and the world's already losing its damn mind again." He remembered a time when the only thing that glitched was his PS2 freezing mid-save. That was real, tangible, fixable, but now, the glitching wasn't digital anymore. It bled into reality. It rewrote it. Crack! A chunk of blacktop cracked open beside them. Glowing green vines, no wires slithered out. The cables pulsed like veins, wrapped in corrupted data. From the crevice, something began to crawl upward. It looked like a possum, but wrong, too many eyes. Its tail was a spinning hard drive blinking red. Its mouth opened sideways, full of flashing error codes. The man froze, raising the sword. "You've gotta be kidding me." Ichi didn't wait. Froom! With a blast of pixel fire, he blurred into a streak of red and orange, dashing through the glitch possum in a blink. It let out a garbled dial-up screech before evaporating into static. "That's new." The man lowered the sword, a smile twitching at the corner of his lips. "Fire dash. Not bad, buddy." Ichi turned back. His tongue flopped out, tail wagging with pride. "You're not scared anymore." The thought hit him harder than he expected. Just a few months ago, his pup would have cowered behind a couch during a thunderstorm. Now he was dive-bombing digital mutants with the swagger of a samurai on Red Bull. "And I'm supposed to lead this. Me, just a dude who used to spend Friday nights rewinding blockbuster tapes." But there was no time for reflection. From the cornfields ahead, movement. First 1, then 4, then 12. Glitchlings, each barely 4 feet tall, bodies like melted game controllers, limbs like tangle cables. Their faces were stretched screenshots, distorted Mario heads, corrupted Zelda sprites, even a Garfield gif from some cursed corner of the internet. The man swallowed hard. His knuckles turned white around the katana's grip. "All right, Ichi," he said, voice low. "Let's see if this still works." He darted forward. The first glitchling lunged, teeth chattering in MIDI tones. The katana cut through it like paper. Blue sparks burst into the air, followed by the smell of burnt plastic. Another lunged from behind. Ichi fire dashed through it midair, sending the rest scattering. One of the monsters crawled on all fours, its limbs twitching like it didn't know how to exist. It let out a deep, guttural "you upload" in a stretched-out voice, like a modem crying for help. The man stopped. His chest heaved. "I'm not built for this. I'm not a warrior. I was a cashier, a part-time dreamer. I played retro games to escape, not to live them. But Ichi looks at me like I am. Like I have to be." A glitchling pounced from the side, clipping his arm. Sparks and blood sprayed as the claws ripped into his jacket. Pain lanced through him, sharp, hot, real. He stumbled back, gasping. Ichi leapt, spinning midair, his fire sword flashing like a meteor. He sliced the monster mid-leap, landing between his partner and the rest of the swarm. The man knelt, clutching his arm. "Thanks, bud," he muttered, breath ragged. Ichi growled at the remaining glitchlings. One by one, they blinked away like bad save files, choosing to retreat deeper into the cornfields. The wind returned. Minutes passed. The man tied a ripped sleeve around his arm. "We need to keep moving. If this is starting here, it's gonna spread." Ichi sniffed the air and pointed with his nose south, always south. The man hesitated before stepping off the lot, glancing back at the EB games. The store was already glitching, collapsing inward like it had never existed. "We don't get normal anymore, do we?" Ichi woofed softly and pressed his head into the man's leg. Yeah, I guess I don't want normal anymore either. The man gave one last look at the sky, still stuttering. Still waiting. And somewhere beyond the glitch, something massive stirred, a deep bass hum, and the faintest whisper of laughter on corrupted wind. Chapter 3. The Fields That Shouldn't Bring. The sun didn't rise the next day. It was supposed to. The man checked his cracked phone. 6:02 a.m. July something, but the sky, still a low-hanging smear of gray with pixel static drifting like dust motes. The clouds didn't move. They hovered, paused mid-frame, frozen in a half-loaded of a sunrise. The man rubbed his face, dirt and dried blood under his nails. He hadn't slept. Neither had Ichigo. They'd taken turns standing guard behind a collapsed billboard on the edge of a forgotten farm road. Rusted grain silos loomed like skeletal towers in the distance. Ichigo, the man muttered, you smell that? The Shiba's ears twitched. It wasn't manure or mold or even decay. It was digital rot, the scent of fried circuits mixed with wet hay and something living that shouldn't be. They followed the road, boots crunching gravel and pixel fragments. Each step pulled them deeper into the glitched farmland, where time hung loose and wrong. The barn appeared first. Red paint peeled in thick sheets, revealing blinking circuitry underneath. A weather vane on the roof spun in fast forward, pointing in every direction at once. The cornfields beside it were dead, stalks dried out, but twitching as if trying to grow. A low moo echoed from inside the barn, slow, drawn out, wrong. The man froze. Please tell me that's just a cow. Ichigo didn't move. His eyes locked onto the shadows shifting between the slats. They stepped inside. The barn interior looked like a VHS autopsy. Wooden beams flickered between real and rendered. Dust floated upward. Hay bales twitched. A rusted milking machine ran on its own in the corner, screeching rhythmically. Then came the sound. Click, click, click. Not hooves. Legs. Dozens. Hundreds. The man stepped back instinctively, blade out. His heart pounded in his ears. From the rafters above it emerged. A glitched centipede the size of a pickup truck. Its body was made of rusted tractor parts fused with VHS tape and segmented steel vertebrae. Each leg ended in a blade. Its head was a twisted CRT monitor split into 8 screens, each one flickering a different distorted image of the man's own face. The man's blood turned to ice. It knows me. The centipede hissed like a corrupted WAV file and lunged. Ichigo. The Shiba flared to life. Foom. Fire dashed straight through the creature's side. Its metal plating sizzled, legs twitching violently. The centipede shrieked in 1,000 voices, not human, not machine, somewhere in between. The barn shook violently. Animals emerged from the shadows. But they weren't animals anymore. A goat with 4 eyes blinked out of sync, bleeding in reverse. A horse's neck stretched 20 feet long, its eyes replaced with spinning SNES cartridges. A chicken flapped its wings, each feather flaring in and out of 8-bit textures. The man sliced through the air, carving a path toward Ichigo. We can't kill everything, buddy, just that damn bug. The centipede curled around them, wrapping the walls of the barn in its coils. From its monitors it spoke, a voice stitched from broken voicemails and corrupted YouTube audio. You left me offline. Files will not die. Ichigo growled low and hot, body glowing brighter with each breath. The man narrowed his eyes. You talk too much. Combo strike. Ichigo fire dashed along the creature's side, igniting its joints. The man leapt, slashing through one of the monitor eyes mid-swing. Sparks and blood sprayed pixelated gore. The centipede screeched, flailed, slammed through the rafters and collapsed. It spasmed. Then glitched, literally glitched, flickering and pulsing, stuck in a loop. Each monitor showed its death from a different angle on repeat. The barn began to implode. Time fractured. The walls turned into looping frames of an old Harvest video from the 90s, corrupted and smeared with digital static. "Geo," the man yelled. They barely made it out as the barn collapsed in on itself, not just falling, but vanishing frame by frame, like someone pressing rewind on reality. Outside, the air returned to stillness. Ichigo collapsed into a sit, panting, tail still on fire but slowly dimming. The man stared at the horizon. The farmhouse was gone. Only a scorch mark and a single, flickering glitchling remained, watching. That centipede, it showed me. My face, my memories. They're watching us. He turned to Ichigo. They're evolving, getting inside our heads now. Ichigo barked twice, like he knew, like he'd seen it too. They didn't rest. They walked back onto the road. Windmills on the hills turned backward. A low static hum filled the air. Somewhere ahead, a new distortion pulsed on the horizon. And the man knew. The glitch master was growing. Chapter 4: The Storm Circuit. The clouds weren't clouds anymore. They looked like data smoke, churning in violent spirals, glitching in and out of red and violet hues. Rain didn't fall. It hovered, droplets twitching midair like frozen loading screens before bursting into sparks. The sky had become a corrupted bios, humming, alive and ready to crash. The man and Ichigo ran. Behind them the storm chased. A tidal wave of lightning, wind, and code. Trees cracked, folding into shapes that didn't belong in nature. A semi-truck twisted in on itself like a Mobius strip, spewing pixelated oil into the air. "Keep going," the man shouted. His legs were jelly. His coat flapped in the wind, soaked in digital rain that burned on contact. Each drop sizzled against his skin like static bites. He stumbled, coughed, his lungs felt heavy, like he was breathing corrupted air. Ichigo beside him, paws leaving trails of glowing embers on the wet pavement. His fire had dimmed since the barn battle, and now it sputtered. The storm wasn't just weather, it was feeding on their energy, draining color and warmth from everything around it. They reached a dead end. A collapsed overpass. Chunks of highway floated in midair, like puzzle pieces halfway solved. The fields around them warped and twisted, full of writhing cables, shattered tractors, and melting power poles. Then the ground began to tremble. Boom, boom, boom. From the cornfield emerged something massive. It stood 30 feet tall, part tractor, part meat, part server rack. Its torso was a crushed diesel engine fused to a rotting ox carcass, glowing with wires and veins of molten copper. Steel limbs flexed with unnatural strength, claws made of snapped power lines. Its head was a hollow cow skull wired to a broken laser targeting system. The red dot blinked on and off like it couldn't decide where to kill first. No words. No glitchy speech. Just a single, guttural roar that shook the man's teeth and sent a flock of pixel birds screaming into the static sky. "No sword's gonna fix this," the man whispered. The beast charged. The ground cracked with each step. The man leapt sideways, tucking and rolling, pain flashing through his ribs. Ichigo barked and fire dashed across its leg. The flames barely singed the surface. The mech beast rotated its head. A laser dot appeared on the man's chest. Nope. He dove again, narrowly missing a beam of burning red that shot from the creature's skull eye, melting a crater into the ground. Ichigo. New plan, distracted. Ichigo dashed again, flame trailing in the wind, drawing a spiral around the monster. The beast swatted wildly, confused, screeching. The man crawled behind a cracked slab of asphalt. "I'm out of time, out of strength, out of damn everything." His hands trembled, his breath hitched. The katana was heavy in his grip, and for the first time it felt useless. You weren't trained for this. You were just a dude with a Shiba and a game collection. This isn't your story anymore. Let it end. But then, Ichigo screamed. Not barked, screamed. The man's head shot up. The mech beast had pinned the Shiba down with one massive claw, red laser aiming for his head. No, the man shouted, stumbling to his feet. Time slowed. His heart pounded so loud it drowned out the storm. The man ran. He didn't feel the rain anymore. Didn't feel the burns or the blood, just the sword in his hand and the fire in his chest. He slammed into the mech's leg, slicing upward with a wild, untrained swing. Sparks exploded. The beast stumbled, loosening its grip. Ichigo rolled free. But the man didn't stop. He climbed the creature, using its own wires and meat tubes as handholds, dragging himself up through the stench of burning meat and ozone. The targeting laser found him instantly, drawing a line from his chest to his skull. Do it. He didn't stop. At the top, he jammed the sword into the base of its skull and yelled. Ichigo. Now. The Shiba ignited. For a moment, he looked like a star. Flames burst outward in a sphere, forming a fire shield, crackling red-orange light expanding in every direction. The heat wave hit the mech from below like a bomb. Its body burst into flaming fragments, melting steel, boiling wire. The man was thrown from the top, spiraling through the air like a rag doll. He hit the ground hard. Everything went black. Minutes passed, or hours, maybe a day. The storm eased, drifting into a light glitch rain. The sky slowly rebuilt itself. The man opened one eye. Pain screamed through his ribs, his arm, his spine. He couldn't move. Ichigo, he croaked. A warm weight pressed against his side, soft fur, a gentle paw. The Shiba was there, curled up beside him, eyes wide, alert. You good? The man whispered. Ichigo barked once, quietly, and licked his face. Okay, then we keep going. He didn't mean today, he didn't mean now. He meant somehow. And Ichigo understood. The fire shield still pulsed faintly around them, like a guardian angel made of raw code. Chapter 5, Power Glove and Memory Core. The sky had stopped bleeding. At least for now. Patches of real blue peeked through the static haze above, like the world had taken a break from falling apart. The wind was cooler here, not clean but not toxic. It smelled like ozone, rusted metal, and roadkill, but underneath it, the man caught something else. Old plastic, faded cardboard, sun-baked posters. Retro air. He limped forward, ribs still screaming. Every step felt like walking on broken glass, but he didn't stop. Ichigo padded beside him, eyes constantly scanning the shadows. They'd learned not to trust even silence. And then over the next ridge, past a collapsed billboard and some half-glitched cattle statues frozen mid-moo, they saw it. A building stood alone in the distance. Sign cracked but legible. Press start video games. The P flickered like a dying star. The store was a time capsule from 1997. Inside, the world hadn't ended. It smelled like dust, plastic wrap, and floor cleaner. The walls were lined with sun-bleached ads for the GameCube, N-Gage, and Dreamcast. Glass display cases glitched occasionally, momentarily showing pixelated skeletons or maps of circuits before snapping back to shelves of unopened cartridges. It was peaceful. Even the glitch storm outside refused to breach it. On the counter sat a single energy drink, one of those old-school neon green cans with a jagged lightning bolt across it. The man didn't question it. He cracked it open and drank. Immediately his breath deepened. His hands stopped shaking. His spine popped. His thoughts, once hazy and burned out, snapped back into place. Okay. Not dead yet. Ichigo sniffed around a broken cardboard cutout of Duke Nukem. Then the man saw it, tucked between two unopened Game Boy Advance consoles, glowing faintly. A power glove. Not just a power glove. The power glove. Jet black with exposed wires and a glitched Nintendo logo pulsing across the back. As he picked it up, the world paused, and a message flashed in his vision. Power-up acquired. Glitched enhanced power glove. Effect. Sword swing speed. Plus 22%. Weight. Minus 15%. Cool factor. Plus 1000%. The man flexed his fingers. It felt natural. Too natural. The sword at his side hummed, almost grateful, lighter in his grip. Faster. It moved with his thoughts now, not just his muscles. I could get used to this. But peace doesn't last. Not here. The first warning was Ichigo's growl. The second, a low flap of leathery wings, echoing overhead like thunder. The man looked up, heart instantly dropping. A flying glitch demon circled above the store. Its body was stitched together with burned textures and PS1 FMV faces, twisted and looped. Wings like corrupted JPEGs snapped open and shut. Its eyes glowed red, and when it screamed, it sounded like a scratched PS2 disc spinning in reverse. The man barely had time to react. Crash. It dive-bombed. The man was thrown through the broken glass door and rolled across cracked concrete. He scrambled to his feet, sword in hand, glove flickering with energy. The demon wheeled around and came back, wings tearing through the wind. He swung. Too slow. The claw clipped his chest and sent him flying off the edge of a bypass. Falling. Gravity, pain, adrenaline. The edge of the bridge snapped past him. His fingers found rebar and gripped it hard. He dangled above a chasm of static fog and broken pavement. Blood dripped down his forearm. The demon screeched and began to dive again. This is it. You're done, you can't hold on. But then, a memory. A screen. Samus rolling into a ball, missile upgrade, Ridley fight. Him, age 9. Sitting on the shaggy carpet of his parents' basement, snack crumbs everywhere, watching pixels, believing in magic. Samus always made it out, so can you. He clenched the rebar tighter. Ichigo. Above, the Shiba took position. He barked. The fire swelled in his chest and launched forward, a fireball glowing bright orange and spinning like a comet. It struck the wing of the demon mid-dive, igniting its shoulder in flames. It roared and flailed, tumbling midair, crashing into the side of the bypass. The man pulled himself up with a scream, grabbing onto the edge and hauling his body onto the cracked asphalt. Every muscle burned. He coughed hard, wiped blood from his face and stood up. The demon wasn't done. It limped, dragging one wing, face glitching and shifting between 8-bit and photoreal. It roared one last time. The man ran forward, glove flashing. The sword swung faster than ever, a blur. The demon's head came off in a clean arc, bursting into flames and static. The rest of it glitched out of existence in a burst of corrupted particles. Silence. Ichigo walked to his side. The fire around his body dimmed. He wagged his tail once, fireball charged in his throat, now his to command. The man dropped to his knees, breathing hard. You just did a Hadouken, he wheezed. Ichigo barked twice. The man laughed, exhausted. I'm proud of you, buddy. He looked at the store in the distance, now flickering and fading. Then at his glove. Then at the sky. We've got a chance, not much, but enough. Chapter 6, Shadow Bark. The sky pulsed a deep purple now, the color of bruised static. The man could barely stand. Each step was heavier than the last. His power glove twitched with low energy and his sword buzzed, no longer glowing as bright. After the flying demon and the fall from the bypass, he was running on fumes. But Ichigo walked tall. His fur shimmered with heat. His paws left faint trails of fire across the cracked sidewalk. The fireball bark, his new trick, still crackled faintly in his chest like a loaded weapon. They followed the distant glow of blinking lights until they found it. A massive building sagging in the dark, its neon sign half working, spelling out Pixel Paradise Arcade. Some letters were missing, so was the warmth. Inside, the air smelled like burnt popcorn and electrical failure. Dust hung like mist. The glow of CRTs reflected across shattered tile floors. Cabinets were jammed against one another, screens cracked and twitching. The sound of distorted 8-bit music played somewhere deep inside. The melody glitched, looping the first 4 notes of Donkey Kong Country forever. The man leaned on the change counter, breath ragged. "Ichigo," he coughed, "I need you to scout ahead. I'll catch up." Ichigo looked back. His ears twitched. He didn't like leaving his human behind, but something deeper called him. A pull, like destiny written in ones and zeros. He padded deeper into the arcade. The glow grew stronger. He passed haunted relics, a time crisis machine with guns melted into the floor, a Dance Revolution pad with bloody paw prints, a Galaga cabinet whispering his name. Then he saw it. In the very center of the arcade, surrounded by flickering machines and a circle of old pizza boxes, sat an intact cabinet. Its screen showed his own face, Ichigo, staring back at himself only, not him. Its eyes glitched red. Its fur was darker. The flames around it were blue instead of orange. The screen flashed. Challenger approaching Ichigo.exe. The arcade trembled. Then the cabinet hissed steam, and from the screen stepped out the shadow. A perfect mirror but twisted. Its movements were delayed by a frame. Its tail split into code strands. It opened its mouth and barked not sound but a glitched, warping screech that shattered nearby screens. Ichigo took a fighting stance. Flames circled his paws. The shadow did the same. The first clash came fast. Ichigo lunged, mouth igniting, launching a fireball. The shadow mirrored it, blue flame hissing through the air. They collided midair, exploding in a storm of light. The room shook, cabinets tipped over. A Pac-Man machine played the death sound on loop. Ichigo dashed to the side, paw steps bursting with heat. The shadow followed, identical but wrong, too perfect. It knew his moves before he made them. He ducked behind a broken Mortal Kombat cab, only to see a blue fireball blast through it from the other side. Boom! Sparks flew. The blast scorched his fur. He yelped, rolled, and launched 2 more fireballs, one from his mouth, one mid-leap. The shadow dashed through the air, tail blazing, leapt, and slammed down like a meteor. The floor cracked. Ichigo skidded backwards, eyes narrowing. This wasn't just a copy. It was a reflection. Every moment of his power, fear, and instinct twisted into a living nightmare. The shadow barked again, but this time it wasn't sound, it was memory. A distorted flash of a rainy night. Him soaked and small in a box. The man picking him up saying, "Looks like we're both glitches. It knows me, it's built from me." But Ichigo wasn't afraid anymore. He growled low, fire surging in his belly. Then something shifted. His eyes burned brighter. A new glow sparked from his paws to his tail. The flames around him turned gold at the tips, flaring with raw energy. Fire burst unlocked. Ichigo charged. Not with a dash, with intent. He barked again, but this time it wasn't just fire. It was rage. A soul blast wrapped in heat and loyalty. The fireball smashed into the shadow's chest and lit it up like a Roman candle. But the shadow wasn't done. It leapt through the fire, flames licking its broken grin. and tackled Ichigo into a busted Street Fighter II machine. They rolled, biting, clawing sparks everywhere. The shadow tried to mimic Ichigo's final move, that signature shoulder twist he'd used against the centipede, but it was too slow. Ichigo spun midair, tail flaring, and let out a final, echoing bark. Boom! The fireball detonated point-blank, turning the shadow into a mass of shattered polygons and blue flame. The arcade went still. The air shimmered static fatting, machines flickered and died, the screen above displayed. Player 1 wins. Ichigo stood panting, burned but victorious. His fur was scorched, but his eyes were clear. The man stumbled into the room, eyes wide. "Dude, did you just?" Ichigo barked once and wagged his tail. The man limped forward, kneeling beside his companion. "You beat your own evil twin in an arcade boss fight, while I nearly passed out back there drinking expired surge." Ichigo barked again, quieter this time. They sat in the dark, the only light coming from a single glowing arcade token that rolled to a stop at their paws. The man picked it up. "Guess your player won now." Final chapter, glitchmaster.exe. The highway stretched endless into the black static sky. Pavement cracked beneath their feet, surrounded by abandoned cars frozen mid-escape. Red tail lights blinked in rhythmic patterns, forming symbols, some ancient, some digital, all ominous. The man tightened the strap on his power glove. His katana rested across his shoulder, faintly glowing from the last encounter. Ichigo stood beside him, fur flared with golden-orange heat, his new power pulsing with each breath. The wind died. The sky tore open, and from the bleeding clouds descended him, floating inches above the ruined highway, seated on a throne of broken CRT TVs, wires trailing like tendrils. The glitch master had returned, but this time he was sharper, his form no longer warped. He moved like a perfectly rendered cutscene, eyes glowing white, smile unnaturally still. "You've corrupted my corruption," he boomed, voice layered like 10 radio stations at once. "The Shiba has exceeded his save file, and you're still just a player pretending to be a hero." The man stood tall despite his shaking knees. "Keep talking," he muttered. "It'll make the crash harder." The glitch master's fingers snapped. The pavement split. It emerged, twice the size of the last one, a centipede beast, its back lined with melted game cartridges and flickering VHS fragments. Its legs were rebar and jagged silicon. Eyes covered its entire armored head, all blinking in different UI colors. Its breath stank of old plastic and forgotten save files. Ichigo growled low. The centipede roared and charged. The man dodged left. The beast tore through 3 cars like tinfoil. Ichigo leapt into the air, spinning mid-bark, and launched a fireball dead into its flank. It screamed, twitching, rolling over on impact. "Ichigo, go left. I'll draw its eye." The man bolted down the highway median, sword drawn. The centipede swung one massive leg, clipping his arm and sending him tumbling. Blood hit the ground in hot bursts. He rolled, came up, slashing blade meeting a metal limb. Sparks. Ichigo was everywhere, barking, spinning, fireball after fireball erupting in a storm of gold and red. His body glowed like a meteor mid-strike. Each hit blasted chunks from the monster's side. The glitch master looked on calmly. "You dance well, but all files corrupt." The man grunted, dodging another slam. "You're all talk." He turned to Ichigo. "Let's end this." Ichigo met his eyes and barked, low, steady, full of fire. The man raised the katana. "Light me up, buddy." Ichigo launched a fireball. The moment it hit the sword, flames surged across the blade, fusing to it like liquid plasma. The katana now burned gold red, flickering with Ichigo's energy, pulsing like a heart. The man's arms trembled under the power. He charged. The centipede lunged one last time, mouth open, a pit of static and metal. The man jumped high, sword raised. Time slowed. Below him, fire glitch chaos. Beside him, his best friend, a tiny dog with the heart of a samurai. He came down with a scream. Slash. The sword, supercharged with fireball energy, cut straight through the monster's skull. A blinding explosion of flame and pixels erupted. The centipede convulsed, then shattered into a billion fragments of corrupted code, dissolving into the storm. Silence. The throne above cracked. The glitch master hissed, his body glitching rapidly now, breaking frames. This is not my end. The man limped forward, blade still glowing. You're right, it's just game over. Ichigo stood beside him. Together they barked. And the glitch master, the highway, the storm, all vanished in a flash of gold and white. When the light faded, the world was calm. Sunlight. Real sunlight. Birds chirped, air tasted clean, the sky no longer stuttered. The man collapsed, laughing through blood. Ichigo flopped beside him, tongue out, tail thumping softly. They stared at the clouds. You know, the man muttered, if we survive another one of these, I'm letting you pick the power-up. Ichigo barked once proudly. And together, they watched the world reboot itself. End of Book 2. Keep checking back soon, and don't forget you can get a hard copy on Amazon to show support. Everything helps. Till next time, and don't forget a power-up.